I'm just calling to say
One of my viewers pointed out that Megan was probably upset about me getting dust on her car and that it wasn't a good idea to get dust all over my tools. It does take forever to clean this stuff off of everything in the shop, so I decided to put some of this down. I had 2 rolls of this stuff, and I decided not to use it in the first place because I kind of didn't know how well it would actually work, and I was afraid that it was going to block out too much light, but it turns out, yeah, it looks like it's going to be okay. So I used this for about 2 or 3 hours last night, and it seems to have contained the mess to this area. I also put some around the bottom of my bench to keep stuff out of my welder area and try to keep, yeah, grinding dust and stuff like that out of there. This is what I did to my bench area. I've got it covered in here now with some of this plastic, and I've got it stuck down at the bottom with a magnet. We've got a couple of magnets, and this one is stuck to my argon tank. I put a piece on here as well, but there's nothing on top of the bench. Over on this side, I covered it in on that side as well, and I covered up there and the back, so stuff that falls through the cracks now isn't going to fall down on top of my welder. I do a lot of work up here with the die grinder and grinding dust and dirt, and little bits of stuff fall down, and I gotta make a decision pretty soon on whether or not I'm going to order a front fill, and if I do, which one I'm going to get. I don't want to really mess around with doing this myself. As I pointed out in my last video, I could do this, but a little design flaw is all it would take for this thing to do some really horrid stuff, and yeah, you don't want... I'm just noticing there's a big bulge in the side here. You can see where there's a fiberglass repair here, and there's a big bulge there. I'm not going to criticize anybody because I'm not that great at fiberglass work either. I just struggle with it for hours and hours and hours until I get it kind of acceptable, or to my level of acceptable anyway. So once I decide on a front fill, yeah, I think I've already decided that I am going to do a front fill. It's just a matter of actually pulling the trigger and ordering one. I'll wait until I get it. I'm not going to leave all this broken stuff in there. Once I get it, I'll probably just cut all this bad stuff out and build up on the inside of the front fill. Most of the time what people do with a front fill is just put it on over, use an adhesive to stick it down, and then taper it in on the front and the back. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use mine as basically a repair patch and build it up. So I'll cut out everything that isn't needed, and then I will actually use the front fill as a mold for the fiberglass on the inside. At least that's what I think I'll do. What I'm going to do next is remove all the paint and primer and filler from the side of this, and then once I'm done that, I'm going to go around the whole hull and I'm going to remove all of the Bondo stuff, and I'm going to mark it with either a pencil or a marker so that I don't lose track of where the spots are. So any place where there's been a Bondo repair, I'll just kind of make a circle around it, and that will let me know that I have to come back and fill that with epoxy and glass, or epoxy and some thickener. Yeah, enough talking, let's get to work. I thought I would show you guys my clever ventilation system before I get started here. I have a ventilation system. The fan is actually a furnace fan that is built into the attic, and then I used one of my joist cavities as the vent, so I'll just show you. So my joists in the roof run this way, and so I actually have a vent here that comes over my lathe. There's the tube that goes into the joist cavity and runs along. You can see there's another vent there.
And up over the tires over there's another vent. And right now I have the two vents here closed off, and what that does is causes it to pull all of the air from here, so it increases the airspeed and pulls more air through this. If I left those other two vents open, basically it would be trying to pull air out of here into the other area, and yeah, that could just cause the dust to spread all over the place.
I'm just calling to say I
I'm not sure if the time lapse shows it up, but I removed several coats of stuff. I think there was 2 separate layers of paint, if not 3, and also a layer of lightweight filler or leveler, I don't know what they call it. Now I'm going to start removing these things. I'm going to start removing all of this green stuff for sure. There is some glass work here. I'm not sure how well it's done and what they used. So while I'm doing this, I think I'll probably cut these out and repair them myself as well. It's not going to take that much extra time now that I'm in here, so I might as well just do that while I'm here. So I think I'll start on that now. I might use the belt sander for some of the heavier stuff. It removes the material pretty quickly, so I'll probably use that for some of it. I'm glad that I decided to cut these old repairs out, because they did one of the most common things that people do when doing repairs, and that is, and I totally understand it, but people are afraid to cut away the original boat material, and what they try to do is just patch over the hole that's there. When you patch over a hole, you really should remove all of the old damaged material, because the material that you put in is going to bond to whatever material is on the surface. If the material that is on the surface is all broken up and damaged, then the repair is only going to be as strong as the damaged stuff that you attach it to. I'm going to remove all of the damaged material, and then I'm going to taper it out from there. If you have to do a repair, it's actually a lot of the time easier to repair a bigger area, because it gives you more room to taper it out and blend it in with your existing part or your existing surrounding area. And it also gives more area for the repair to bond to. And yeah, just this is a good example of how not to do it. You can see they put repair material over this stuff here, and it's just it's peeling up quite easily. So this material is all damaged, and so the repaired material, the material that went on here, wasn't actually holding on. The only thing that was really holding it on there was the paint, so it wasn't providing any strength whatsoever. But these two, this is why I decided to show you guys. It looks, for one, like they only used a resin, so it looks like they used a polyester resin, and they didn't use any glass by the look of it. They just put a polyester resin, but they put a repair on right over the damage, and because of that, you can see I can just peel that repair right off. It's only as strong as the damaged material that it was attached to. What I'm going to do now is cut out all of the damaged material and all of the old repair. Then I'm going to come back and taper it out so that I have a nice place to lay all of my repair material.
I'm just calling to say I
Here is my ventilation fan switch, and here is a neat little trick that I can do. When I shut the fan off, watch what happens. That was a good night of sanding. I got quite a bit done. I uncovered some stuff that I really didn't want to uncover. I've got a few more repairs that I'm going to need to do, and I assume that when I start on the other side there's going to be some over there as well. Out of curiosity, I'm going to weigh all of the stuff that I sanded off here tonight and see how much it actually weighs. And then 218 grams, so almost a half a pound of stuff that I sanded off just in one evening. And I ended up vacuuming some of it up and sweeping some of it away. Here you can see I used the belt sander to start the tapering, so I tapered back in some of the areas so that I'll have more surface to attach the glass to. It went through to the foam. Here you can actually see the foam there, and here you can hear that. That is the foam underneath the fiberglass. This one here I'm going to be able to fill just with some epoxy, thickened epoxy. This one, quite obviously, is going to take some glass. The layer underneath that looks like it's still damaged, probably looks like it's still damaged from the camera. That is actually the second layer. So if you look through here, you can see this part of the hull. Well, the bottom part of the hull here, I think this is where the floorboard actually meets. This one is going to be able to be filled with just some thickened epoxy. And this one here, I don't know what had happened, but it was basically just a bunch of, yeah, there hadn't been a patch. It was just a bunch of damaged fiberglass. So I think I might still have to remove a little bit from here based on the sound of it. It sounds kind of hollow. You can see it sounds different here than here. The more I look at this, the more it becomes obvious that a front fill is no longer an option. I'm going to have to do that. There's a huge amount of filling that I would have to do through this area. I'm not sure how far the front fill actually goes. I think it would come back to about here. Hopefully it would come back a little bit further, but if it comes back to here, that'd be okay. Wherever it actually goes to, I'll have to live with it, but yeah, the further it goes back, kind of the better. I think it ties into these chines here, this one and this one, so yeah. Anyway, I made quite a bit of progress. I think on the other side, it's actually pretty good. There's one spot up here. There's one spot here that has Bondo, but as far as the rest of it, there's no damage to this side of the hull, so Whatever the reason, this ski has a whole bunch of damage on this side. I'm going to take care of that while I'm doing a bunch of other fiberglass work. After this is done, we still have the hood to look at. It has a few things. It's not nearly as bad as the rest of this, but definitely going to have to take care of that too. While I'm doing fiberglass work, I had mentioned in the last video, I am going to be cutting some off of the back of this. I kind of don't feel like this is enough progress or a good place to end the video, but I don't want to leave you guys waiting too long, and I have a feeling that even by the time Sunday rolls around, I'm going to be doing more of the same of this. Hopefully the next video that you guys see will be me actually doing some fiberglass repairs. I think that this is going to be the last video where I bother recording footage of me getting rid of the paint and the body fill and all of that stuff. I don't want to make this video series too boring. So I'll try to post some updates, but I'm not going to continue posting footage of me doing that because it's probably going to drive some people crazy. I've ordered a couple of exciting things that I'm keeping to myself for now. I hopefully will post it in the next couple of videos. I got something that's really exciting today, but it's not part of this part of the project, so I'm going to save that for another video. Overall, really excited about this project still. Again, obviously, you don't like seeing stuff like this when you pull paint off of your jet ski. You don't want to see a big hole in the side of it, especially one that hasn't been repaired properly. But I'm going to take care of that. I sort of have decided that I'm going to use the Works or Jetworks or something craft. I've somewhat decided that I'm just going to glue this piece back in and not try to do the fill. I was thinking about doing a fiberglass fill here, but quite honestly, I think the piece that you put in there probably works just as well, and it's only probably a little bit heavier than I could make my repair or changing it with fiberglass. So I think I'll just leave well enough alone. Or maybe what I'll do is shave it down in the mill and then fiberglass it in place. I could do that. That would lighten it up and maintain the shape. Anyway, that's something to think about. I gotta go in the house now, edit some video, and try to order some parts. I need to make sure that I have sandpaper. I need belts for my belt sander thing. I need 80 grit sandpaper for this. Megan bought this a couple of years ago to do some work on the trailer, and so I need a roll of adhesive back, 80 grit. She has some 220 grit that I can use, but I'm going to need to block out some of these. I'm also going to buy another DuraBlock. They make a teardrop shape, and I think it's going to work perfect for doing in the areas in here. With a square block, it's just going to suck. So I'm going to get a teardrop shaped block for doing those. I was just about to end this video, and I remembered that Josh from the Jet Ski Brothers and I are working on a collaboration. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm not going to say too much about it because I don't know how much he wants me to say or doesn't want me to say. So maybe if you head over to his channel, head over to the Jet Ski Brothers, and yeah, ask him and maybe he'll give you some details. Anyway, it's going to be a really cool project. We don't have all the details or the logistics figured out yet, but I'm very excited about it. I know he is as well. That's all I'm going to say for now, and that is the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.